Well, welcome everyone to Cooking Fun with Joanna, and I am Joanna, your host, with Nutrition in Motion. And today we are cooking a tuna steaks with a miso-chile sauce. And not that we can't have enough miso, but we're going to do miso with or miso-ginger glaze to put on our broccoli. So in the original directions, I said you needed 2 pans. If you have a wok, that might be the better option for the broccoli. So if you have that, then use it. If you don't, it's all okay. We'll just use it in a frying pan because everything works just as good. So the recipe is going to be you obviously need tuna steaks. Depending on how many people you have, I am a single person, so I am going to make 2 tuna steaks. But the recipe still calls for 3 or 4. But it takes about 30 minutes to put it all together. You're going to need butter, shallot, minced ginger, minced garlic, eighth of a teaspoon of Japanese or other chili paste, half a cup of red wine, some honey, dark miso, and some olive oil or something neutral. And then obviously the 1-inch thick tuna steaks. And then for the ginger miso glazed broccoli, then it suggests that we use white miso. Well, all I have is red miso. So red miso is just going to have to go with both. And this is the fun about cooking. Even if you don't have exactly what you need, you can always alter it and do the best you can with what you have. So if you don't have
miso at all, so
right. So if you have the if you don't have the chili paste, which I miraculously do, then you can use the ancho chili powder or a little bit of tomato paste with smoked paprika and some chili powder. You can just kind of put it all together. It's all going to be fine. Or if you have like that hot mustard, that Asian hot mustard, that could be a good thing to.
Oh yeah.
So for the broccoli, it's going to be the miso, maple syrup, or honey, more fresh ginger that's grated, toasted sesame oil. You know what? We're not toasting it. I have some organic sesame oil, and that's just going to have to do. And then some tamari or soy sauce. I don't have rice vinegar, so I'm going to use my apple cider vinegar, or you could use white wine vinegar or red wine vinegar. Olive oil, obviously broccoli, because that's what it is. It's ginger and miso glazed broccoli. So we need 8. This recipe calls for 8 cups of broccoli. I have a broccoli head. So just keep in mind when we make this recipe with the glaze, you don't have to use all of it for this one recipe. You can use, a tablespoon or 2 and then save the rest for another time. Oh, it says that you should have a scallion, but the scallion, and I think that's all for garnish, so we're not going to worry about it. We can just throw in an extra shallot or onion into it, and it'll all taste good. So we're going to be making the broccoli and the wok, but we have to start the tuna first. That's the challenge. I think that's how we have to do it, because I don't know if we can really do both at the same time.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm following your lead.
Yeah, my lead stinks right now, doesn't it? Because I don't know which one was really like the broccoli is going to take 10 minutes. The fish takes 10 minutes, but it's the sauces that take the more time. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the miso glaze sauce first. Then we're going to make the other one. Then we're going to start the tuna, and then we're going to saute as we're braising the tuna, then we can cook the broccoli, and the sauce will already be ready. Got it?
Got it.
So to start with, we need a bowl. And I don't know if it's going to be a small bowl or a big bowl, but I think it's going to be one of these 2 size bowls. So either a 2 to 4 cupper or a 2 cupper or 1 cup. I think 1 cup is going to be enough. So it's going to be 2 tablespoons of miso. If I can get the container open. And like I said, I realized that we have different miso. So I just bought 1. Oh, and I pulled out a teaspoon because it says it's going to be, we need a tablespoon. So we need 2 tablespoons of the red miso. There's 1, and there's 2. Then we're going to hold on to that miso for a little bit later. Then we're going to put the honey in. Where is my honey? Hey, where did you go? Now we're going to put in a teaspoon of honey or maple syrup. And I would suggest honey because it's less sweet. The maple syrup is definitely sweeter. And if you don't want to put a full teaspoon, that's fine too. Then a teaspoon of sesame oil. So that's what I have is the sesame oil, and you're going to put a little bit of that into that container. Then a half a teaspoon of tamari soy sauce. Where is my soy sauce? I thought I took it out. And you know what? I don't have soy sauce. I mean, I do have soy sauce because I ordered sushi last month. I ordered sushi last month, so I have some soy sauce. But you're doing a half a teaspoon of soy sauce or the tamari sauce. So it's just a touch. It's not that much. And then a half a teaspoon of the rice vinegar, or in my case, it's the apple cider vinegar. And then we're going to mix this all together. Somehow you're supposed to whisk it. So the first thing you want to do is you have to kind of mash all the, kind of mash it all together.
Jane, go lay down.
So you just have to mash all of it together so it becomes more like a paste. So this is what it looks like. It looks like a paste.
Okay,
you
so
just keep mixing it until it's all a paste.
Okay, so just go over again what I have in there. I have the.
So it's 2 tablespoons of miso. We need to still put the ginger in here. So there's going to be a tablespoon of grated ginger.
The grated ginger, okay.
Yeah, and I haven't done that yet. You're supposed to peel it for this recipe, but if you don't feel like peeling it, then, you know, no harm done. I'm going to be lazy and just do it as is. And I don't know if you can see. I'm just going to use my big knife, and because we're going to use some ginger for the other one too. I'm going to try to stack these all, hold on to it, and basically mince it. And this is where you really have to have a sharp knife and hold on to it with your fingers and fingernails and just shred it as small as you can. And that is going to be the fun
Or use
part.
one of these puppies.
What?
Or use one of these thingies.
A grater?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing you can do is you can grate it. That is a very great idea. So I love ginger. So it says 1 tablespoon, and that looks like about a tablespoon. So I'm just going to dump that into the whole concoction. So again, it's just going to be, you're just mixing it to get all those flavors to blend.
Okay, so I have
a little bit more liquidy, but it's definitely a paste.
Okay, so I have in there, I just want to make sure I have what the.
So I'll go through the whole list again. So
okay.
2 spoons of miso, one tablespoon of the fresh ginger grated, 1 teaspoon of either honey or maple syrup, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, half a teaspoon of tamari or soy sauce, and half a teaspoon of the rice vinegar.
Okay.
So that's the easy part.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to go to the tuna steaks, and you're going to actually put that on the gas stove. Obviously, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, because mine is definitely not coming into a paste.
What does yours come into? Is it liquid?
It's all liquid.
Huh. I guess I'm wondering if I need to add a little bit of something.
Mine's more
paste.
But I see. You know what though? I don't know if it makes a difference because I'm not using. Because is the miso more pasty or is that more liquidy?
The miso is more pasty. So if you want it more pasty, put more miso into it.
Okay, because I don't have the meat. That's why mine. Yeah, that's why mine is more liquidy because I had to use soy sauce in place of the miso. I don't have miso. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, so yours, the miso is going to be the thing that thickens it up.
Oh, okay.
The miso is really, really thick. I don't know if you can see this, but
that's what
it almost looks like pureed beans, but it's really thick.
Yeah.
So that's why yours is liquidy.
I could chop up some. I could chop up some chickpeas.
You could chop up some chickpeas to give it some body.
Yeah.
Or don't worry about it, you know. So this next one needs the miso as well. So you're gonna we're gonna chop up the shallot first. So here's the shallot. We are gonna mince some ginger as well, but let's get this one going. So we're gonna cut the bottom of that shallot off. And you only need 1 teaspoon of minced shallot. So even though I've got this huge, since I'm only doing 2 steaks, then I might only do the small shallot instead of the big one. You know what? I'm going to do the big one because I'm going to put some of the shallots in with the broccoli. I like how I think on the fly. Sometimes that's what we have to do when you're cooking. You know, you're making 2 things, and shallots always add to the onions or to the dish. And shallots are a little bit milder and sweeter, but they add a really nice flavor. So what you want to do is still leave that tail on the shallot and just peel off that top layer of skin and kind of cut it in half. And then make sure you have a sharp knife. You're just going to make rows with the end of the knife and hold it together with your thumbs and your finger. And then you're going to just go ahead and slice. And it looks like my knife needs a little bit of sharpening. It's not going as smoothly as I would like. This is why you always have a knife sharpener handy dandy close by to where you're cutting. Ah, much better. So now the knife slides a lot easier. And I don't have to fight with the shallot. But you're making a very narrow, almost a millimeter slices. And then just be careful near the end. All right. So I'm putting ghee into the pan. Butter is a great thing, except that sometimes butter burns. So I typically like to use ghee. I know it's like I'm showing this, but you're putting a tablespoon of the ghee into the pan. And I'm going to move
You're doing the pan, the flat pan, right?
The flat pan, the frying pan, yeah. So you're going to put a tablespoon of the shallot into that pan with the butter that's heated. So I would say this is probably a good heaping tablespoon. I'm actually going to do twice as much because I like shallots. And I'm going to use save the other shallots to put in with the broccoli, because I think it'll go nicely with the broccoli. So we're just going to let this heat up. Make sure that the oil is in with the shallot. We're just gonna let that saute a little bit. And this is where we're gonna add the ginger. So remember, we're gonna put half a teaspoon of the diced ginger. So if you still have a couple of slices of the ginger from before, use that. If you don't, you have to start over.
Hello?
Yeah?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm on a Zoom.
Just let me know when you come back. And so now we're just going to, you can see me over here. I'm cutting matchsticks of the ginger and then chopping that up into teeny little pieces. And then we're going to take this chopped and diced or minced, however you want to call it, ginger root, and put that into the pan with the shallots. And inevitably, there's always one little piece that gets away, so you gotta retrieve it. And there's my tablespoon of ginger. And that's, again, another spice that I like. So if I add extra, I'm not disappointed.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, no problem.
I have the shallots in. Sorry, that was my mom's doctor. Of course, I called.
So now you're putting in the diced tablespoon of the diced ginger.
Okay.
And then we have to do garlic. So it's going to be half a teaspoon. So basically, you're going to dice one clove of garlic.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of peeling the skin. And if you can see, I'm having fun with that part. And we're going to do the same thing with the. This is where knife skills come in handy. You have to just be patient and scrape the skin off. And in this case, I'm going to cut it into three sections, but then lay it flat so I can cut it easier. And then I'm going to cut slices of this one too. And then dice it on the end so that I have small slices of garlic. Then I got to go back and do the other two pieces. Sometimes you have to hold it down with your finger so that all the pieces don't slide out. So once you dice the garlic, then you're gonna throw that into, well, I shouldn't say throw that into the pan because I don't think you were throwing it across the room, but you're gonna take it. I find that you can just scrape it with that big knife and then just slide it up into the pan. If you want to add extra garlic, you're more than welcome to. But this is where we're going to add the 1/8 of a teaspoon of the chili paste. It's 1/8 of a teaspoon, so it's not that much. Okay, so you're going to do that. I think that looks like a half a teaspoon, but I think it's more closer to 1/8. But you're going to put that into the pan. And eventually we're going to mix all that stuff up together. You're putting in the 2 tablespoons of dark miso. And I have this awesome miso that I'm going to use this because I love this South River miso. It's made from aduki beans instead of soy. And I got it from a specialty health food store, and I haven't been able to find it since. It's a big jar, and I don't use miso that often, but it works really well for something like this. If you don't want soy, then you can use Yes. And I don't have quite enough, so I have to use some of the other. So what you're gonna do is just mix all this together. And this is where we have to still add the wine and the honey to kind of make it all, put it all together. So you're just blending the miso with everything else. Okay. I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of the honey on top. Good thing there's the squeeze bottles for that. And for fun, we're gonna put some sesame oil into this pan. But we're gonna add the red wine. And for the red wine is a half a cup. Unfortunately, the only one I have open is the sangria, so this may add an interesting taste to the whole thing.
Ooh, yummy.
But it's red. It'll be like sweet and sour. Like I said, it's gonna be interesting, and I think I'll put a little bit of that into my broccoli, the broccoli sauce. Maybe that'll thin mine out a little bit, so it's not so pasty. Just a splash was enough to make it a little bit more runny. All right, so here you're just going to be blending all these together.
Yeah, and I just used some chickpeas because again I didn't have the
miso.
The miso, so I actually just took the knife and just mashed up with the side of the knife. I just mashed up some of the chickpeas. And
did that work?
Actually, it worked. It like gave it that same pasty consistency. So
okay. Well, yeah, and the nice thing is chickpeas don't really have a lot of flavor, so they won't overpower the dish.
Yeah, that's what mine looks like.
Right. So now we're gonna move the sauce over a little bit. You're gonna drizzle a little bit of oil in the middle of the pan. And I'm gonna just use the sesame oil because it's easy and it's right here. But now you're gonna turn the heat up just a teeny bit more. Spread some of that oil, and you're gonna put the tuna steaks right into that oil. Okay? And this is probably where you can go ahead and put a little bit of sea salt on here. Although it might not need it because of the soy sauce. But there really wasn't that much soy sauce, so we don't have to worry about it.
So you have the heat on like medium?
Have the heat on medium because I really want the tuna steaks to kind of sear while the sauce is thickening a little bit. There's going to be like 3 or 4 minutes per side, which is a good time to turn the other burner on to start cooking the broccoli. So while we're waiting for this, because you definitely don't want raw tuna, but we have to wait till it cooks a bit so that you can see the white part actually kind of climb up. We want to kind of brown it a little bit and caramelize it.
We're not making sushi?
No, that's a different kind of fish. You know, I was at the Asian market today and I had the option of actually buying sashimi or buying sashimi tuna or just tuna. And it specifically said at the counter, not for sushi. So this is specifically a tuna that is not for sushi.
Right.
So I love broccoli. And with this, you can just chop it up however you want. I can't decide how I want to chop it. But I'm gonna take out some of the insides because sometimes those things are just to eat. But you're gonna kind of chop these into strips. I don't know if you can see how I'm cutting it into strips or not. They're still going to be florets, but they're going to be cut up florets. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they're completely whole florets, it's going to take forever to cook, even in a wok. So go ahead and put in a tablespoon of the sesame oil into that pan. Shallot. I'm going to take the shallots with my knife, put that into that pan. And it should, like I said, it should be kind of I don't know if you can see the burner, the flame, it's kind of medium. And my tuna is starting to look like it's almost ready to flip. So I'm going to continue cutting the rest of my broccoli on an angle so I can have broccoli florets, kind of sort of. Do you like my description, the kind of sort of broccoli florets?
Yeah.
Because that is kind of how it is, right? Especially when you're cutting it like this. I tend not to like the stalks that much, so I'm getting rid of the stalks. And I'm making a complete mess in my kitchen. There's gonna be little broccoli stuff all over the place. But I'm cutting them up into smaller pieces so that I can throw that into the wok. And I will move the camera yet again so that you can see what I'm doing. So move that. I think you can. So now it's time to throw, or I like the word throw for some reason, but we're going to put the broccoli into the wok. Try to get all of it into the wok. And now you want to take a curved spatula and flip that tuna. Okay?
Yeah, the sauce is getting nice and thick.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn down my heat a teeny bit because I think my sauce got a little bit too brown. I might actually have to add a little bit more. I'm gonna add a little bit more of the wine to keep it from. I think that's my solution. If it gets too thick, add wine. Right?
Yeah, I think mine's pretty good, but I added a lot of wine in the beginning, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna keep mine from completely charring. So we'll let this one sit here for a little bit while we move over to the broccoli. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip pans here. So I'm gonna turn this actually down a little bit more. Turn this one up a little bit more. And just stir everything in here. Because that's why they call it a stir fry, right? But the broccoli should actually cook fairly quickly. I actually need a little bit more oil in mine. I think I put like a teaspoon into mine and it needs a little bit more. So I'm just gonna drizzle some along the edge. And then the the broccoli will start to sizzle. But for whatever reason, the broccoli doesn't take that long in a wok. And if you have a lid, that would be helpful too. And one thing, the last time I made this this tuna, I definitely have to cut a piece to see how cooked it was. If you see it, it still needs time to cook because it's only cooked on one side. So, oh,
Yeah.
No wonder mine's not cooking anymore. I turned the burner off accidentally.
Oh no! You had to turn it down and you and you went
I
off.
turned it down and I turned it off instead. So yeah, so I still need to cook this this tuna a little bit more. Even though I really want to try it to see how it tastes. And I have tried it before, which is why we're making it, because I really liked it when we made it. And I'll go ahead and turn the broccoli over again. And if you have a little bit of chicken broth, I find that if you put in a tablespoon or so in and cover it, it'll cook a little bit faster because it'll steam it cooked. And then we can add the sauce in a minute. Heck, you could even add the wine in if you wanted to. But this way you can get it to steam and cook a little bit faster when you put some of the water into it and cover it with a lid. And it should still maintain its bright green color. And once it's cooked, one of the things that you'll notice when we make it this way, where we kind of browned it and caramelized it first before we added the water, then you get more of that caramelized flavor and the roasted flavor to the broccoli. So adding the liquid just helps to get it a little bit faster. And you can go ahead and mix it if you'd like, just like I did. And I'm gonna check my tuna steak. It looks better than it did before, but I might have to cut the other one to see. It's getting there. Another couple minutes for the tuna. And because I like to cheat, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna try the little piece that I so good. So I'm gonna just take that lid off for now and put it over the tuna. And then now we're gonna take this miso paste sauce with the ginger and all the other goodies. And you're not gonna put all of it into the broccoli unless you have 8 cups. Okay? So I'm gonna use I think I used 2/3 of mine. And I wasn't intending on doing quite that much. But now you're just gonna mix that all with the broccoli. And that's what it should look like. How does yours look?
Actually good. Obviously different because I'm using coleslaw, not broccoli. But it still looks really good.
I guess that would look a little different, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it really looks good.
So this is what the broccoli looks like with the sauce, and I'm gonna leave it up open for a little bit to let that extra liquid kind of evaporate. And then well, maybe I'll just close it, and then that's what my tuna.
There's what mine looks like.
Oh, awesome. So I'm going to turn off the broccoli. Because I think the tuna is ready. And well, there's one way to find out if the broccoli is ready, right? If you can stab it with a fork and the fork picks it up and it's soft, then your broccoli is ready. If it's not, then you want to cook it for another minute or two. So I'm gonna try it to see.
Yeah, mine's definitely done.
Definitely not done?
No, it's done. Obviously, because mine cooked a lot faster.
Well, yours is cabbage. Yours is cabbage, so yeah, the cabbage is smaller, so it's faster to cook. But my broccoli needs just another minute, so I'm just gonna cover it. It's really good. The flavor of that miso, the miso-ginger glaze, phenomenal. If I don't say so myself. So now,
What are we doing with the toasted seeds?
with the what?
The toasted sesame seeds?
You're putting that in the broccoli.
Oh, okay.
Put that on. You can either put it in the into it now or use it as a garnish. So the whole idea is you're going to take the tuna steaks and pour that sauce on top. Got it?
Yep.
So at least, so your tuna steak should at least look like that. And now I'm going to add the broccoli so that it looks a little bit more appetizing. I mean, we could just eat broccoli all by itself, but I think it might be a better option. Put it on the side and make it look a little bit more like a balanced plate and a balanced meal. So I still have quite a bit of liquid left in mine, but now my broccoli looks more cooked. So I'm going to try to be artistic here, but I will never make it as a chef in a restaurant because my artistic presentation, I think, is lacking. But this is what my dish looks like. What's yours look like, Miss Gina?
Let's see. There it is.
Nice. Oh wait, you know what I want to do? I want to put it on the side by side.
Okay.
So I'm going to pin you as well. So then we have side by side. So this is what mine looks like, the tuna with the broccoli. And that is Gina's tuna with cabbage. Right?
Yeah.
Looks awesome. All right, so now we get the fun part. Right? We get to try it. So let me straighten out the camera.
That is really good.
That is it?
Yeah, that is really good.
It is really good. You don't really need to add salt to the salmon, to the tuna.
No, not at
miso
all.
and everything else in there. Yum, yum, yum.
Yeah, I just had to add a little more wine to mine because mine started to thicken up a little too much. So I just added a little bit of wine. So, because I have a few more.
A little bit of wine never hurt anybody, right?
Nope, not at all.
But look at that. We started a little bit late and it's 6:15. So this is really between the two. It's a quick and easy recipe. It's 35 to 40 minutes. And voila, you've got this amazing dish. And if you want to use that same recipe with different
That is really
vegetables or a different fish, you can do it.
That is really good.
It is really good, isn't it?
That is good.
So next time we're gonna do some chicken, but since we're doing the cuisines from around the world, I am going to do grilled chicken in an Algerian marinade.
Ooh.
Except we're not gonna grill it. We're gonna still put it in a pan because grilling will take like forever. But it's got this amazing marinade with garlic, anise seeds, saffron, paprika. Well, you'll put cayenne pepper in. I'll put the ancho chili pepper in. Lemon juice, cilantro, onions, and chicken. So that's going to be the main part of the dish. And I still have to decide what our side dish will be. But that is going to be, we're going to Algeria and we're going to make Algerian chicken.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, so that's going to be, what, I think that's March 15th?
16? Yeah, 16.
March 16th. So join us again for Cooking Fun with Joanna. If you have any suggestions or if you want to post below a picture of yours, or if you have any questions about how yours turns out or didn't turn out, we'll always give you some recommendations. And if you have any ideas or any particular region of the world where you want a recipe from, just let us know at Joanna, www.nutritioninmotion.net. Have a good night and enjoy.